Well, Canada just made the mistake of the century when it comes to trade between America and Canada. Things are blowing up now, and I'm going to cover the scoop all right now, right here on American Advocates. Going to get right to the chase here. This was a Truth Social post sent out by President Donald Trump early this morning at around 2-something a.m. We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced they are putting a digital services tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Edited June 27th at 2:14 a.m. I love my president. He never sleeps, and he's always working tirelessly for the American people. Unfortunately, as you can tell, that Truth Social post is not a good one. The Trump trade war is now raging on against Canada. It was a little spat to begin with, and then Mark Carney got elected as prime minister in the Canadian elections, and honestly, he immediately started playing ball. However, this Canadian Tax Act, the Digital Services Tax being passed by their government, was something that had been started up back in 2024, and Mark Carney has sort of supported it and has certainly not spoken out against it. What is this Digital Services Tax Act? I'm going to tell you right now. This is from their official Canada.ca website, the Digital Services Tax. The government of Canada has introduced the Digital Services Tax. The DST requires foreign and domestic large businesses to pay tax on certain revenue earned from engaging with online users in Canada if they meet certain conditions. Affected businesses will have to apply to register for a DST program account and may have to file a DST return. And so essentially what this is just the Canadian government doing what any large country's government does, looking for ways to earn money, all at the expense of businesses, mind you. And these businesses will include companies like Amazon and Apple, which are two companies that President Donald Trump has actually adamantly defended from other egregious tax violations in other countries. So President Donald Trump is obviously understandably upset, especially because it continues to get worse on this Canadian.ca website when it explains what this DST, Digital Services Tax Program, is. About the tax, the Digital Services Tax applies at a rate of 3% of revenue. And this applies to companies that earned, I believe, 20 billion Canadian dollars or more in a fiscal year. So again, Amazon, Apple, large companies in general that just do business up in Canada and sell to Canadians will all be impacted by this. And it continues to get worse. They've put a deadline on when this digital services tax must be paid. Mind you, this just passed up in Canada. I believe they call it being royally assented. It just royally assented like when? A day or two ago? And already they're expecting payments to come in by June 30th. So quite literally a 3.5-4 day total notice for these large companies to have to pay this tax. Foreign or domestic businesses must pay the digital services tax in respect of a calendar year by June 30th. Unbelievable. But it continues to get worse. Because not only do they want these companies to pay this tax by June 30th, not only are they charging them a 3% flat tax rate for earning and dealing with Canadian customers, but on top of it, the greedy Canadian government under Prime Minister Mark Carney wants to retroactively tax these companies. Filing a return. The tax will apply to taxable Canadian digital services revenue earned since January 1st, 2022. So they're going back 3 years and they're expecting a retroactive 3-year, 3% per year tax payment to the government. This is pure greed from the Canadians. And quite honestly, it's coming from a country that doesn't have a leg to stand on if they're going to be targeting especially American companies, which is why President Donald Trump is so up in arms over this. I think he probably feels slightly blindsided by this act and why he has ended all trade with Canada. Now they're going to suffer President Donald Trump's wrath. This news came in on a great day where Trump has received multiple wins from the Supreme Court. And Trump is riding high on the momentum he has received. So this was actually the worst time for Canada to implement this because President Donald Trump is now going to re-wage the Trump tariff war on Canada. And it's going to hurt. And Canada is going to be forced to back down and to look foolish yet again. Now, I wound up searching Prime Minister Mark Carney's official X account page to see if he's made any statements before or since President Donald Trump's Truth Social post, where he ended all trade negotiations with their country and has decided to impose a tariff rate on them within the next 7 days. I could not find a single response from Mark Carney on any of this as of yet. However, I did find him posting this video.
Think about the difference between then and now.
This treaty is a simple document to come to the aid of any one of them who may be attacked.
Think about the institutional changes in Europe. Think about what's happening in the world now in terms of the threats financially, the threats geopolitically.
The collective security created by the alliance remains the strongest and the most effective way of protecting Canadians. So together with our allies, we must ensure that NATO remains strong, unified, and ready to confront the threats not just of today, but of tomorrow. We can nostalgically look back and long for the old order to somehow return, or we can build a new one with purpose and partnership.
What a friggin' fruitcake. I cannot stand it. Canada is apparently ready to lead the world. Unbelievable. So, at this point, my only question for you is how fast do you think Canada will back down from this digital services tax on American companies especially? You think they'll make it a month? Because I certainly don't. Thanks for watching and subscribe to American Advocates for more.